May we request the ministers to please occupy their seats before we begin our press briefing. Good afternoon, Madam. Good job. Yes, thank you. We request the remaining ministers to please occupy their seats before we begin our press briefing. We're just waiting for the arrival of the remaining ministers. hinihintay na lang po, sir. Ala.
Okay, thank you. We will start. Sorry for that. We were kind of delayed, and a lot of people had flights already leaving. I'll just read the press statement. APEC ministers responsible for trade (MRT) met here in Boracay yesterday and today, 23rd and 24th of May, under the chairmanship of the Philippines. We welcome the participation in the meeting of the Director General of the WTO, the 2015 Chair of the APEC Business Advisory Council, the Pacific Economic Cooperation Council, PECC, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, and the APEC Secretariat. We reaffirm our commitment to promote trade and investment liberalization and facilitation, and strengthen economic and technical cooperation to achieve inclusive growth and attain the common goals of development, prosperity, and progress. We are committed to building an open economy in the Asia-Pacific region featuring innovative development, interconnected growth, and shared interests. We shared ideas and exchanged views on important trade and investment issues to build consensus on how we can work together effectively and efficiently for the betterment of the APEC region. To advance our work this year, we adopted the APEC 2015 theme of Building Inclusive Economies, Building a Better World. And we focused our discussions on many issues. I would like to highlight the results of our meeting in the following priority areas. First, the support for the multilateral trading system. On the WTO, we are all encouraged by the progress made by the WTO to implement the Bali package resulting from the 9th Ministerial Conference, MC9, with the adoption of the Protocol of Amendment for the Trade Facilitation Agreement, TFA. 3 APEC members have already notified their acceptance of the protocol. All APEC members have committed to submit the instruments of acceptance to the WTO by the 10th Ministerial Conference. On enhancing the regional economic integration agenda, on EPTAP, we started the process for the collective strategic study on issues related to the realization of the EPTAP. We have a task force which will undertake the collective strategic study. The study will be completed in 2016, but we will have a report on its progress by the APEC Leaders Week this November. In our meeting, we reaffirmed our green growth objective to reduce our applied tariffs to 5% or less by the end of 2015 on the APEC list of environmental goods as endorsed by leaders in 2012. By November 2015, we hope to demonstrate APEC's successful achievement of this groundbreaking commitment. On the connectivity blueprint, we continue to make good progress towards a seamless and comprehensively connected and integrated Asia-Pacific region by implementing the APEC connectivity blueprint for 2015 to 2025. We have many initiatives, including improving connectivity to and from remote areas led by Indonesia. On services, we will continue to develop the APEC Services Cooperation Framework, ASCF, and the APEC Virtual Knowledge Center on Services. The services sector is an important component and economic dynamism in all our economies. We will promote an enabling environment for services, trade, and investment, as well as improve the competitiveness of our services sectors to meet the BOGOR goals and strengthen regional economic integration. And on fostering the MSME's participation in regional and global markets, we recognize that micro, small, and medium enterprises are an important force in economic activity, growth, job creation, community resilience, and innovation. We will complement APEC's initiatives on promoting SMEs' participation in global value chains with an agenda that will support micro and small enterprises as direct exporters. At our meeting, we endorsed the Boracay Action Agenda to globalize MSMEs. This is an action-oriented initiative that supports APEC's ongoing work to address the barriers faced by MSMEs in international trade. Through the Boracay Action Agenda to globalize MSMEs, we will facilitate micro and small enterprises' access to regional and global markets. For this, we identified priority areas for cooperation and action on trade facilitation, such as e-commerce, financing, and institutional support, including for women-led MSMEs. We agreed to many initiatives in this aspect, including facilitating access of MSMEs to FTAs, RTAs by simplifying and streamlining rules of origin, procedural and documentary requirements, and harnessing IT to ease documentation and procedures. We also will streamline customs-related rules and regulations and assist in the compliance of MSMEs. Provide timely and accurate information on export and import procedures and requirements, and many other initiatives. We will strengthen APEC's information sharing and stronger coordination in projects and initiatives. We will cooperate with international organizations and forums, especially those that are giving MSMEs greater emphasis, which will link APEC's work to global efforts. The complete set of documents will be posted in the APEC website this very minute. We thank you, and we now open the floor for questions.
Thank you very much, Secretary Gregory L. Domingo. For the first question, we have Mr. Warren de Guzman from ANC.
Thank you. This is a question for the ambassador from the United States. Sir, do you see any similarities between your TPP and the FTAP? Do they cancel each other out? How will they be working together, or is it a good deal for APEC to have both in play? I understand also that there are a number of countries that are not yet included in TPP. I think the Philippines is still working on that. Maybe also ask for your input on where that is right now.
Well, I'm happy to answer that, but obviously the focus here should be APEC. Look, the free trade area of the Asia Pacific is an aspiration that APEC embraced several years ago. I think it goes back to 2006. And in 2010, the APEC leaders indicated that there were multiple ways of achieving that aspiration for the region, including TPP, including ASEAN plus 3, ASEAN plus 6, and other initiatives. So we don't view them as contradictory at all. We see TPP as one of the building blocks, along with several others, that can contribute to a free trade area of the Asia Pacific. With regard to TPP specifically, it's intended to be an open platform to which countries that are able and willing to meet its standards could join with the consent of all the parties and consistent with each of our domestic processes.
Thank you. Next question from Miyuki Yoshioka from Yomiuri Shimbun.
My name is Takahiro Tsujimoto from Yomiuri. I ask question for my colleague Miyuki. My question is to Vietnam, Mr. Nguyen. What's your Vietnam's stance or opinion on the initiative on high quality infrastructure development, which Mr. Miyazawa explained during the meeting. Thank you.
As the other member of APEC, you are always support connectivity between members of our region. So yeah, I support that initiative from Mr. Miyazaki.
Okay. Thank you very much. So for the lineup, we will have Reuters News, Mr. Rose Francisco, and that to be followed by Walter Palanya from the Manila Times.
Good afternoon for Mr. Froman of the US. I'm going to ask again about the TPP, sir. I understand there was an informal meeting this morning among some of the ministers forming the TPP. May we know whether what was discussed and whether a new target or a new timeline for concluding the TPP talks were discussed? And also, with the battle now shifting to the US House of Representatives in passing the TPA, the debate is centering on currency manipulation. Is there a sort of parallel mechanism being discussed among the countries on how to address this issue so as to appease probably the Congress?
Well, we did take advantage of the fact that the TPP countries are all here to have a brief breakfast this morning, give us an opportunity to touch base, review the status of the negotiations, and talk about the work program going forward. With regard to the debate over Trade Promotion Authority in the U.S., as you note, the focus will now shift to the House of Representatives when they come back from recess, and we look forward to working with them to get it passed as soon as possible. There are many issues that are likely to be discussed. Currency manipulation is an issue that is very important, and it's one that as an administration we take very seriously, and that we've been working bilaterally and through mechanisms like the G7, the G20, the IMF to address.
Just a follow-up question.
Just to follow up, was a new target or timeline discussed on when to conclude the TPP talks? Like, is there a target for holding the ministerial meeting?
We agreed to conclude it the moment that we have agreement on an ambitious, comprehensive, and high-standard agreement.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Froman. Walter Palanya from the Manila Times. To be followed by Kyodo News, Tomohori Deguchi.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. In line with the support for multilateral trading system, what are the developments given by WTO Director General Roberto Azevedo regarding the Bali package, including trade facilitations and post-Bali work plan, as well as the preparation for WTO 10th WTO Ministerial Conference 2015 in Nairobi, Kenya?
There are a lot of talks, so there's some progress on the trade facilitation agreement. And but on the rest of the Doha round, there's still discussions on, in particular, on the agriculture, on NAMA, and then on services. But there were suggestions from the APEC body that it should include all components of Doha. So that's a recent suggestion, suggested actually by Peru. And so that will be taken into consideration as well. But there are still a lot of challenges along the way. But I think the trade facilitation is moving forward.
Thank you very much. Tomohori Deguchi.
Good afternoon. Tomohiro Deguchi with Kyodo News, Japanese wire service. My question is almost the same as my Reuters colleague, Rosemary, but U.S. Trade Representative from. Could you tell us about how optimistic and confident you are on wrapping up this TPP negotiation by this summer, which was the initial or the latest target? And could you tell us about the merits of realizing TPP negotiation, TPP agreement? in terms of effects to the economies in this APEC region? Thank you.
Well, let me start with the second part of your question, because I think it's very important that Secretary Domingo and the government of the Philippines and their chairmanship of APEC this year have focused on regional integration and furthering regional integration through APEC, and TPP is one of several means to do that. And so we welcome the initiatives that the Philippines has put on the table with regard to regional integration, to reducing barriers, to strengthening micro, small, medium-sized enterprises, for dealing with digital trade, for dealing with localization barriers. These are all important initiatives to help further the integration of this region, and we view our work on TPP as supportive of this overall effort as well. I think in terms of the timetable, I don't have much to add to what I said before, where our negotiators are working as we speak and working through issues. We hope to conclude it soon. We're very much in the end game, but we want to make sure we conclude it consistent with the principles that we've laid out.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Froman. CCTV, Wang Zhengzheng. To be followed by Cliff Benson of Nikkei, and the last question to be given by Jennifer Garcia of ABS-CBN.
My question is given to the MRT Chair, Sir Domingo. My name is Cielo from China Central Television, and I have a question about the FTAAP. I would like to know what kind of achievement we have in this time, the MRT, and what we will do in the next future. Thank you.
Well, as last year in Beijing, that we will complete the terms of reference this year, so that was endorsed, and we will complete the study by end of next year. So again, that was decided during the MRT.
Thank you, Secretary Domingo. Cliff Benson, Nikkei.
Good afternoon, sir. I was reading the statement following the Montana meeting in 2011, and the ministers identified some of the barriers related to bringing the SMEs into the global supply chain, and the focus and the priorities were pretty much the same as you meant some of the things, the priorities you mentioned this time. So I would like to ask, so since 2011, what were the significant progress you've made in terms of dismantling these barriers? Thank you.
Well, dismantling barriers is a continuing effort. It's not something that you do one time, because even as you remove some may be rising. It's a continuous process. But I think the significant thing that was achieved in this MRT is that we put a little bit more focus in terms of assisting micro and small enterprises. We will continue the work in terms of pursuing more activities in strengthening the participation of MSMEs and global value chains. But outside of that, we also have to help MSMEs that are exporters, those that can never be part of the global supply chains. And we have put in place many activities to be directed, very specific activities that will be directed to support these efforts. And a lot of economies actually presented a lot of ideas, from trade fairs to automation to supporting the trade facilitation at the WTO, because a lot of those trade facilitation efforts will actually help out the micro and small enterprises as well.
Thank you very much, sir. Jennifer Garcia, ABS-CBN. This will be the last question before our ministers we conclude the briefing session.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This question addressed to Undersecretary Cristobal, sir. What is the biggest challenge for the government to implement programs for our small and medium entrepreneurs, and how is the government doing to address that concern?
I think
first of all, as was mentioned in one of the meetings, a lot of the measures require our internal reforms, our streamlining of our own procedures, our removal of red tape in our processes. And second is really the cross-border concerns of cooperation among member economies to make access to markets easier for the micro and small enterprises. Then finally, looking forward for a more long-term commitment is promoting e-commerce, using these internet technologies to make the markets more accessible for our micro and small enterprises.
Okay. Uh, Thank you very much. This concludes our press briefing for today. We'd like to thank all the ministers and a pleasant afternoon to all. Thank you.